Good morning, dear children. Today, in our moral science class, we have to begin our chapter number 6, that is the hanging sword. Okay, now what we are going to learn from this chapter, that the story which is given in this, so that tells about the rights and responsibilities, that is, that makes us aware about our rights, that we should always hold our rights and we should always fulfill all our responsibilities. Okay, now we shall start reading. Are you always demanding and complaining to your parents about your rights, ignoring the responsibilities that come along with it? Are you aware of the various roles you play in life as a student, son or daughter, as a friend, or in society or to the nation? Each role brings you certain rights in life, but at the same time, they also require you to fulfill your responsibilities attached to that role, isn't it? So what is there, that so many questions are there if we try to find out that are we fulfilling our responsibilities, that we are having role of a son or a daughter, we play the role of one of the citizens in our society, and we also play role of a student there in the school. So many things are there. So are we fulfilling all our responsibilities, are we fulfilling all our duties? So if we think, then at one side of the corner of our mind, so we can say that no, there are some places, sometimes come in our life when we do not fulfill all our responsibilities. Okay, so we shall read this story that is given. We shall start. Syracuse was the richest city of Sicily, and there ruled King Dionysius. He lived in a magnificent place and had everything his heart desired. There were many servants who carried out his envy command. He just had to express a desire, and the servants would go to the ends of the earth to fulfill it. So, what is given? That Syracuse was the richest city of Sicily. Okay, so this was one of the richest city of the Sicily, and there ruled King Dionysius. He lived in a magnificent palace. That is, his palace was very big and very beautiful, very attractive, and had everything his heart desired. That is, he was having everything with him, whatever his heart desired. So he all the time got everything. So there were many servants who carried out his every command, and he also had many servants who carried out all his commands, all his orders they used to follow and fulfill. He just had to express a desire, and the servants would go to the ends of the earth to fulfill it. That is, whatever he may say, wherever his servants have to go, so his servants were going and fulfilling all his desires. Most people envied Dionysius. So what is given? That most people envied, that is, most people, many of the people were there, so they were having jealous with this king Dionysius. What a lucky man, they thought. So what people used to think, that how lucky this king is, how lucky this man is. Among the people who thought him to be lucky was Damocles, the king's best friend. So one of the man was his best friend only, whose name was Damocles, and he only used to think the most that what a lucky man he is. Each day Damocles told Dionysus how lucky he was, that every day he used to tell his friend this king that how much lucky you are, till Dionysus got quite tired of listening to him. And by this time, that is, that every day his friend used to tell him that how lucky you are. So one day what happened, that Dionysus, every time as he used to listen the same thing, so he became tired of listening the same from his friend. Do you really believe that, my friend? Asked Dionysus. So this king asked to his friend, do you really believe that, my friend, that I am lucky, very lucky? Do you really think that I am the luckiest man in Syracuse? Of course do, said Damocles. So Damokil, what he said, that of course I do, that yes, I believe that you are one of the luckiest men in Syracuse. Your wealth and the power you have must make your life carefree. How lucky you are not to have a worry in the world. Okay, then what his friend said, Damokil, Damokil said, that is, your wealth and the power, that you have so much of wealth, you have so much of power with you, so you have must make your life carefree, that you have made your life carefree, that you don't have any kind of worries, any kind of tensions you don't have. So how lucky you are not to have any worry in the world. In that case, why don't you change places with me, said Dionysius. So what Dionysius said to his friend, so in that case, if you think that I don't have any kind of worries in this world, then why don't you change places with me, that you come to my place and I will go to yours. I know that can never be, said Democles. So what his friend said, that I know that it is not possible at all. But if you allow me to have your riches and power for just one day, that itself will make me very happy. Then Democles said to his friend Dionysius that if you will exchange, I know that it is not possible that you may come to my place and I may go to your place. But for single day, if you allow me to have all your riches and all your power, so that only would make me happy. Very well, said Dionysius. Tomorrow shall be your day. So Dionysius also said, okay, very well. If you want that, so tomorrow shall be your day. For one day, you will be at my place and I'll be at yours. So the next morning, he ordered the servants to the palace to treat Damokil as the king. Okay, now what happened? So next morning, the king ordered his servants that my friend Damokil is there, you treat him as a king, as you treat me every day. So for one day you have to treat him as your king. How great Damokil felt! He wore the king's crown, was dressed in the king's robes, and was waited upon by various attendants. He felt that he was the happiest man in the world. So what was there? That how great Damokil felt. So his friend felt very good, very nice. He was very much happy. So he wore the king's crown. So he wore king's crown, was dressed in king's robes. Robes means clothes. Okay, so he wore king's clothes also and was waited upon by various attendants. So, and he was waited by various attendants. He felt that he was the happiest man in the world. And his friend thought, by wearing his crown and having the same clothes of the king and was waited by so many attendants, so he felt that he is one of the luckiest and happiest man in this world. Dionysius sat watching his friend enjoy his day as king. What a joy, said Damokil, as he raised a glass of wine to his lips and smiled across the table at his friend. So on one side his friend was there, the same king was there, real king. So Damokil was sitting on one side of the table, raising a glass of wine to his lips and smiled across the table at his friend. So as he raised his glass of wine, his head tilted back and he saw a sword hanging from the ceiling. Now, very strange, what happened, dear children, that as he raised his glass, that is, as he picked up his glass, as he raised his glass to have, so what happened, that his head tilted, that is, his head was there, it swayed at other side back, and he saw a sword hanging from the ceiling, that is, just in front of his face. What was there? There was a sword, and he took his head back. Then it hung from only a single horse hair, its point almost touching him. So this sword which was hanging just above his head, so it was held with only single horse hair, and it almost was touching this man, Damokil. The smile froze on Damokil's lips, that earlier he was smiling, but now there was no more smile on his face, and he turned white with fear. He wanted to get up from the table and run out of the room. That is, at that moment, by looking at that scene, so he wanted to go out and run away from the room, but he dared not move, but he dared that not to move from there. The sharp glittering sword pointed right between his eyes. "What's the matter, my friend?" Dionysus asked. So Dionysus asked that, "What is the matter, my friend? Why are you looking so fearful? Why are you so worried? Why have you turned so pale?" That is so pale. Pale means that is why your face has become so expressionless. "What is this sword doing here?" asked Damocles. So Damocles asked to his friend that what this sword is doing here. "Any moment that horsehair might snap and the sword will strike me down." So Damocles said that any moment this horsehair might snap, that it may get cut off and this sword may strike me down. "Haven't you seen it before?" So Damocles asked to his friend Dionysus that, "Have you ever not seen this before?" "Of course I have seen it," said Dionysus. "I see it every day. It always hangs over my head, threatening to strike me down any moment. Someone might cut that thread, perhaps someone who can attack my kingdom and who does not want me to be the king." So Dionysus said that any time I know any person can cut this horse hair and this sword can strike into me. So if any person who doesn't like me, who attacks on my kingdom, so he can do that. "Do you understand what I am saying, my friend?" So Dionysus asked that, "Do you understand what I am saying, my friend, to you? If you want to be the king, you must be willing to accept these risks." Okay, then Dionysus said, he tried to make his friend Damocles understand, that is, if you want to be the king, if you want to be at this position, so you must be willing to accept all these risks which will come in our way. With your rights come your responsibilities. That is, with your rights come your responsibility. That is, if you get the rights with you, अगर आपको अपना अधिकार मिलता है तो उसके साथ आपके पास जिम्मेदारियां भी आती हैं. Okay, they are opposite sides of the same coin, and then rights and responsibilities are the two faces of the same coin. That whenever rights come to one person, so उसके साथ आपके पास जिम्मेदारियां भी आती हैं, responsibilities भी आती हैं. So one need to understand always. Now reflections. Rights are what every human being deserves, no matter who they are or where they live, so that they can live in a world that is fair and just. A responsibility is something that a person is expected to do. It is something that affects his life and the life of others. Since the rights are for everybody, we have to take on responsibilities too. Rights and responsibilities are like two sides of a coin. Whenever and wherever you have any rights, you must have corresponding responsibilities too. We have rights in the same measure as we have responsibilities or duties. If we want to have rights, then we have to act in a responsible way so that others can have rights too. So what is given? Very beautiful moral, children. You learn from this story that whenever a person gets rights, then with that a person also comes to know about his responsibilities.